Hey guys, Adam Rose, Vice President and Senior Loan Officer of Western Ohio Mortgage here in Sydney, Ohio, and this is another episode of the Mortgage Guy podcast. And this week, we're going to talk about getting your home ready for sale. Seems more like a realtor topic for a podcast related to that, and not a lender, but nonetheless, we are approaching the spring selling season, and so let's make sure your house is ready to rock, right? One of the big things, especially that we've been facing the last couple of years, is people haven't been updating their home or really truly prepping it for sale. I feel like some people jump into the market and say, hey, well, we're just going to list it now and we'll just do it as is. We're not going to touch it and see what we get for it. That's kind of been the mentality. Not for everybody. I'm not going to say that's everybody. Some people have done their due diligence and gotten their home prepped and ready for sale, but fewer are than there used to be. So let's talk about it, shall we? All right, a little caffeine boost here. So first thing, repairs, right? Normal wear and tear on a house. It happens. You live in it. You're going to have scuffs on the wall. You're going to have chips in your trim. You're going to have cabinets that are funky. You're going to have toilets that you have to jiggle the handle to make sure it flushes correctly. You're going to have a lot of just deferred maintenance items that aren't major to you, the homeowner, right? Not major at all. But when a buyer comes through here and they just start adding up all these little things that are occurring when they're walking through this property, it gives them just not a great feeling, right? Because now they start to wonder, well, are they hiding? Is there something major? They didn't even try to hide this little stuff. So do we have something going on with the furnace? Do we have a foundation issue? What's going on? So one of the biggest tips is truly going through your home, making a list of some of those repair items that are very noticeable to homeowners, and just getting them taken care of. There's a lot of things, a lot of resources out there to kind of give you some ideas on what you should be looking for. But one big thing is making sure when you're walking through the home, what's noticeable in your everyday, without removing furniture, without removing pictures on the walls yet or anything. What do you see that's been bugging you for a while, that's been on the honey-do list but hasn't gotten done? Do those items, guys. Those little things are huge, right? Huge. So make those repairs. Take the time to do it, and it can go a long way. It really, really can, because especially for first timer walks in and they may have very, very little to no experience when it comes to handyman style repairs, and they don't know where to start. They get overwhelmed, right? So that's the last thing you want to do, is make that impression on somebody that's going to come in to possibly make an offer on your house. And another thing on this is it kind of gives this buyer possibly some more negotiation, right? Some more leverage on you on, well, I know you listed your house for $200, but here's this list of items that I got to get done. I'll give you $194 for it, right? It gives them a little bit more leverage and negotiation power during the process, or especially if they're doing an inspection. After their inspection, they may do a post-inspection addendum with you and start renegotiating items, and you're already in contract, so you don't want to relist it, right? Because if you relist it, it doesn't look good all the time, right? People start to wonder, well, if that was in contract last week, I don't know what happened to it. Maybe there's something wrong with the house, right? So you don't want that to occur. So take care of some of these small items and make sure it shows really well. And on the showing piece, right, decluttering. I can't tell you how many appraisals we get, and the way some people live are, interesting. So declutter, right? Make sure you're cleaning the home up. Pick up all the loose items that are out there. If you have kids or something like that, that's a challenge, and I get it. I've got 3, and they are a disaster, complete tornadoes. But it's not just the little toys that are hanging out there. It's nice to be able to kind of organize it. I'm not saying you have to completely reorganize your entire house because you're about to leave it and sell it, but let's say you have, a shoe closet or a coat closet that's in the hallway, and you have shoes hanging everywhere. It doesn't mean you have to organize the entire thing, but maybe buying some little baskets and putting everything in the baskets and then putting them in there, it makes it look more organized. And using that same concept in your cabinetry, right? A lot of people that have pantry space, things like that, and they have cans everywhere, they have box goods everywhere, they have all this stuff. Start using little baskets and stuff that you can put them in and organize the area to make it look cleaner, is more inviting to a home buyer, and could get you either a better offer or remove some of the concerns that a buyer could have about the property. And they always do talk about also is making sure you're scaling back on some of your furniture, right? I think we've all been through, if you've ever shopped houses before, we've always walked through a house before that had just a ridiculous amount of furniture, right? Like they had 2 couches and a sofa and two recliners. And it's just too much for this space, right? It might have fitted. I said fitted. It might fit their needs due to their family size or whatever they have going on, or they invite people over all the time. But you don't want to walk through the home and feel like you got to like squeeze through a space, right? That's not very inviting. They want to be able to walk through the space clean, not bumping into a bunch of stuff. So it's something to consider too, is not just decluttering all your items and your bookshelves and kitchen, but also your furniture, right? That's something that probably a lot of people don't think about. That can also go a long way. And, a lot of the professionals out there also say they want you to depersonalize the space. Yeah, depersonalize the space. That's going pretty far. So I don't know if you're halfway out and you already have a home located and you're starting to move, it makes more sense. But if you have a long occupancy or you're still shopping for a home, this is kind of a tall order in my opinion. But they talk about taking down, photos and get rid of, like you had a DVD collection, getting those out of there. And I can kind of see where they're coming from a little bit on this tip. Mainly my example would be, around here, we have a lot of Ohio State fans and we have a lot of Michigan fans. Well, some people like to deck out their basements or their man caves with their sports teams. And I've seen some in appraisal photos. And now, if you get a Michigan fan coming into someone that has a basement that's decked out in Ohio State colors, it may turn them off, right? They may not be able to see past it. So that's kind of where they're coming from, is to kind of remove your tastes and your personal touch from the home. That way you're not turning someone off or away from it because they get these preconceived notions of who you are as a seller, and people are petty. What are you going to do about it, right? So make sure you are doing that. Now, this next piece on making sure you're ready for your home is paint. All right, so we talked about repairs. So that wasn't really saying update the home. That was just making sure, taking care of some wood putties on your trim, and filling in some holes on your drywall, just little touch-ups and things like that. But paint is huge, right? A lot of homes, when you live in them, again, especially the doors. A lot of people have, the white doors. It looks nice, it's clean, but your fingers are nasty. And especially if you have kids, you're opening and closing doors all the time. You're grabbing the doors up and above, or above and below those door handles, and it gets brown, it gets discolored, right? It just doesn't give it that clean feel. So either go through, really clean those door handles and clean the sides of those doors, or you may have to touch up on some paint. That's what we're going to be talking about. Paint is a very, very inexpensive way to give your house a completely refreshed look, almost a remodeled look, right? So if you have the ability to do that, highly recommend hit the main rooms, okay? I'm not saying go through all your bedrooms and paint everything uniform, but the kitchen, the living room, the hallways, brighten it up a little bit, right? Those lighter grays, the whites, the beiges, something that's neutral. You don't want to go too bold, right? In my opinion, you don't want to go too bold because, again, some people can't see past the style that you may have, and it may turn them off. So go with that nice neutral color. Again, grays are still in. A lot of people love that look with the white trim, but touch it up. If you have the ability to do so, highly recommend throwing a coat of paint into your living room, your kitchen, hallways, even your bathroom. But the bedrooms, again, I wouldn't go too crazy on. I don't think you get enough bang for your buck or for your time in this case. And then once this is all done, guys, you got to set the stage and make it feel like home. All right. So we've already decluttered. We've done repairs. We're painting. We're doing all this stuff. But once it's ready, you want to kind of feel it, make it feel homey, right? And one of the topics, and people always refer to, is fixer-upper, right? They always talk about it, Joanna Gaines, and how she makes it feel at home. Well, using some of her tips is, putting out some planters, putting out candles, small little books, stuff like that, coffee cups on the countertops, something to make it feel homey, almost like you're going through a professionally staged home. That's just a little tip that they have. Light. I almost said incense, like we're in the '60s or something, but everybody's got those candles and the all the fun stuff that they sell through Scentsy. Make it smell nice, right? Some people will throw cookies in the oven, right, to give it that home feel, that home smell, to make sure it's inviting when people walk into the house. And the last thing is keep it clean and consistent. So once you've done all this stuff, right, you're going to have showings at random. You're not going to be anticipating. You're not going to think, well, it'll be on the weekend. We're going to be busy. No, it could be at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. You get a request for a showing from the real estate agent or however you have it set up, and they have to come through. So now you got to make a little bit of a plan, right? With kids, a lot more challenging. But you might want to set aside 30 minutes every evening, every single evening before you go to bed, right? And say, all right, let's do a quick round. We're going to do some sweeping. We are going to, a lot of people use those, what are those mops? The cross waves for your floors, for your hardwoods and your tiles. Hit that, hit your sweeping, wipe off your countertops. That's your primary thing, because the countertops get nasty. Your floor gets nasty very, very quickly. So it's highly recommended that you keep those up to date. Take you 30 minutes in the evening, and then first thing in the morning when you wake up, make the bed. The one thing that hardly any of us do, make the bed. That way, just in case you got a request for a showing while you're at work in the middle of the day, they can come see it on short notice, and your house looks like you prepped it specifically for that showing. All right. So just a couple of tips, guys. Again, it is March finally, and hopefully we get some nice warmer weather. And this is just a couple of things that you should start preparing yourself for if you plan on listing this spring and this summer. It's a great way to show your home, top dollar, make it more attractive for those home buyers. So hopefully you follow along. If you have any questions or comments, or you guys have some tips, please put it in the comments section on our Facebook, on our YouTube channel, wherever you're hearing or watching this podcast, and give us, let's start some conversation about it. All right, that's it for us this week, guys. Remember, subscribe on YouTube, check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and we'll see you all next week.